Hey everyone, welcome to Product Led Growth Leaders. And we've got an interesting guest today to talk about the work that he's done and the path he's gone through to become a product-minded professional. We've got Prasad Gandhikota, and he's going to tell us all about the interesting work that he's doing. Prasad, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Thomas. Nice to, thanks to have you here. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Why don't we just start off by talking about a little bit about your background and how that kind of led to where you are today?
absolutely, Thomas. Yeah. So I started my professional journey back in 1995. That is where I graduated from a technology degree, Bombay University, India. And then I started working for textile manufacturing companies for around 6 years across India, basically, right? And then that is where I was mastering my skills in supply chain management, end to end, from procurement to manufacturing to packaging to sales and distribution, product costing, and how a manufacturing company needs to be run, basically. So I mastered my skills for 6 long years, and then I went on to upgrade my skills. I did my MBA program in marketing and information technology, where I was learning the business skills and the information technology skills, and then eventually completed an industry leading SAP certification program in manufacturing module. And then that provided me a break to shift my career from a manufacturing career to a more like an information technology career, right? SAP consulting career. So that has provided me that kind of break. And since then onwards, from 2005 to till date, almost more than 18 plus years, I have been working for some of the greatest companies like Bosch Group of companies in automotives, aerospace and industry, Honeywell company at aerospace and defense sector, and then the global big four consulting companies like Deloitte Consulting, and then leading frozen food manufacturing companies like Conagra Brands. And currently, I'm working with JP America basically as a trusted advisor, advising Fortune 500 companies in their digital and business transformation programs. So it has been a quite a long journey, basically. So that is in brief, basically, how I started with manufacturing and then shifted gears little bit, still utilizing depth and breadth of manufacturing expertise, but helping Fortune 500 companies in their digital and business transformation journey, basically.
There's definitely some stuff that you mentioned that I do want to dive into. And so before we go into diving into some of those specifics, what are you working on now?
Yes. Currently, I'm working on an enterprise resource planning software package, SAP, systems, applications, and products. So basically, this particular software package streamlines the business processes across the organizations, right? So we have different modules within this ERP. We have a manufacturing module, we have a procurement module, we have sales and distribution, project systems, and variety of modules we have within this package. And this particular package is implemented for Fortune 500 companies. And it can be anywhere, any industry sector. We are not industry specific, basically. So this product can be implemented for aerospace industry, or it can be implemented for a construction company or a frozen food manufacturing company. So irrespective of the industry sector, so this particular package can be implemented to streamline their business operations, basically. So my job currently is working as a senior business consultant. I as a trusted advisor to Fortune 500 companies across North America. Very recently, I played a major role as a work stream lead in manufacturing module for a company in Canada. Which is like a frozen food manufacturing company. And then currently, I just come out with a oil and gas company where we implemented this software, basically. So that is in brief what I'm currently doing.
Right. And so when we think about like building products for the world, not everyone is necessarily in a position to work on a product where the users play a role in the success of the product, right? And so you
Correct.
mentioned a lot of enterprise stuff, and out here where I am in Houston, most of the jobs that we have and get are very heavily in the enterprise space. And a lot of times it's a captive
Right.
audience where you design something and its functionality first, right? And then you've got the big backlog of, all the things that you wish to be able to build. So in your experience, what role does the user's experience play in things, and the feedback loop with the actual user, in the success of the product? And to what extent in your day-to-day, the projects that you work on, does that play a role?
Absolutely, absolutely. So basically, that's the reason I call these transformation programs as a business transformation programs, right? Not necessarily a IT-led programs. So we make sure that so when we implement these products, so we talk to the business people across the organizations. So for example, I can talk about things like within an organization, you have a manufacturing business direct people who take care of manufacturing business processes, procurement business processes, sales and distribution processes, right? So what we do is basically as a discovery process of this particular program, we try and talk about this product and then try to understand the business processes, how these business processes the users are running in their day-to-day operations basically. So we run a phase of almost like 3 months trying to understand the business processes of the organization, right? And then trying to help them how this particular product can help them bridge the gap between what they expect to do in their day-to-day life, basically. So we wanted to help rather than trying to impose on them something. So it is important that we should understand the business processes, document these processes as these business processes, and then try to identify the gaps basically, right? So if you are running your business in a particular fashion, how better my software can help you in streamlining your business processes and improving your productivity and efficiency of your organizations as a whole basically, right? And then we come back and then configure our systems to so that business will be able to use this particular software at the end user level basically, right? So it is not necessarily at an executive level. So we make sure that the users who are operating or using our software services, they are more comfortable, and this software should help them in making their day-to-day life much more easier, basically. So that it is a system of record, basically, right? So you are doing your business in a certain fashion, but the larger the size of the organization, it becomes very difficult for you to manage your operations without a product basically, right? So we make sure that the end user, the business users are using our product to do their business functions within an organization. So it is product led basically. It is not necessarily a sales led operation we do. It is more like a product led. We make sure that our customers use our product even before they buy our product actually, right? So that way uh, and then the implementation journey starts. So once they decide that we buy this particular product, and there is a journey of almost 12 to 18 months, we implement this software package at the company, and then we have various phases within the program basically. So there is a discovery phase where we try to understand the processes, and then we have a realization phase. In the realization phase, we try to configure our systems to match to the business needs, and then we do a lot, and there is an integration testing phase basically before deploying the product. So we make sure that the product is tested and the users are testing the product, not necessarily the IT function, but we make sure that the end users test our product before we deploy the product so that they can start using our product. So this is how we run our programs. So these are more like a business-led programs. So that way they will be able to realize the full potential of this particular product.
Nice. Yeah. And so that's all great. And thinking a lot now about digital transformation because you mentioned that
Hmm.
early in there, and I think I've done a lot of digital transformation. And you advise on it, so you've definitely done a lot on it.
Yes,
And one of the things I see from a product perspective from digital transformation is you need the insiders inside the company who know how things work because they know the processes, and that's the thing that's being digitized. And so, what is your view on, I guess, a twofold question? In your experience, do you kind of create product managers out of the experienced people who are already there doing the process and kind of shift them over and turn them into product managers? And if so, what do you do to make sure that you're picking good product managers for a digital transformation project?
absolutely. Great question. So what happens is basically as a consultants, we will try to bridge the gap between the business and the product. So what happens is basically a particular person, if he has worked in a particular business process like manufacturing, he is expert in that particular in his area of expertise, right? But he is not an expert on the IT technology side, on the product side, basically, right? So we as a consultant, what we do is basically we try to bridge the gap between the business and the IT. So when I'm introducing myself initially, I said that I worked for 6 long years in the manufacturing companies, and then I moved to a product-led career, like an IT career, basically. So I understand how the manufacturing works. I understand how a software package works. So, and then when I go and talk to this product managers, I will try to explain them. Initially, I will try to explain their processes. Since I come from a manufacturing background, I there is no gap basically. When I don't have to start from the scratch basically. I do understand how a manufacturing process works. I try to understand from them how they are running their organization when they wanted to make a particular product, right? And then I will tell them basically this particular product how it can help them in streamlining their business processes, right? So that way, and then I will try to bridge the gap by providing some kind of demonstrations of the software package, telling them that if you are doing this particular process in a particular way outside of the system, how you will be doing within the system, basically, right? So, for example, take an example of doing like a material requirements planning, right? So you have a product, you wanted to make a particular product, right? You wanted to demand or a forecast how much I should be making for this particular product, how I can make it so that I will be able to sell basically, right? And then I will tell them that within the system, how you can forecast a particular product actually. So system will help them to say like, okay, in the coming 3 years, if this is what I have sold in the past, how much I need to forecast basically, right? So this system will help them in forecasting for the future. And then based on the forecast, you will be able to make that particular product efficiently within your organization by using our systems basically, right? So larger the size of the organization, very difficult to manage these processes manually, basically, right? So this product basically helps our customers in managing these processes efficiently and effectively so that they will be able to forecast with accuracy, they will be able to make the product with efficiency, and they will be able to deliver the products to the customer on time and within budgets, basically, right? So that's the kind of work we do when we go to our customer and implement our products to these Fortune 500 companies.
What kind of advice would you give to someone who is maybe new to product management, or maybe they've done product management before, but they're about to embark on a big project where things
Mhm.
are going to fall on their shoulders if things go wrong? What kind of advice would you give that kind of professional?
Absolutely. So the advice what I will give is basically, so these programs are very complex because it requires digital expertise, it requires business expertise, it requires program management and project management expertise, right? So, and also it requires executive leadership visibility and their dedication of time to these programs, basically, right? So there are a lot of moving parts in these major transformation programs. So advice what we give is basically, because we come with experience, we have delivered these programs for variety of companies, variety of industry sectors, right? So we plan these products, we plan these programs basically, by talking to right from the initiation. We help them in selecting the software package, right? What would be the best software package you should be selecting to solve the most complex business challenges what your organization is facing, basically, right? And then once the selection happens, we plan and we decide like how we can implement this product. Is it like a big bang approach? Are we going to implement this product for the 30 companies, 30 manufacturing plants across the globe, or we will try to do like a phase-wise project, actually, right? So we suggest various kind of techniques, saying that we do like a pilot implementation. We take one particular plant within your organization and we implement this product for this one particular manufacturing plant, and then we will see the success of this program, right? And then we will roll out this particular product to multiple plants across the globe, actually, instead of going like a big bang approach. So we might go with a pilot approach and then the phase wise approach, basically, right? So and then we need to decide, is it like a more like a greenfield implementation or it is a brownfield implementation, meaning are you using some kind of legacy systems already in your organization, or you are trying to do this particular project, you never used any IT system, you are going to implement this product for the first time, actually, right? So based on that, we have various strategies. We need to understand these things from our customers, and accordingly we try to help them in to making sure that the product is implemented within their budgets, and it delivers like a business value to them, basically, right? It's important that any product should deliver a value to the business. So what is the ROI, basically? What is the return on your investment, right? So all these kinds of advices we provide to our customers based on our expertise.
Right. So this is all really interesting. Now, what let's talk about the corporate culture shift that's necessary for these kinds of projects to be necessary. Well, one, do you agree with me on that? And then two, how do you guide that cultural shift? Because I find that with digital project transformation projects that I work on, oftentimes they work out a lot better if there are kind of a first wave as of the kind of leading professionals training folks on agile and kind of showing them this is how things go in an agile process. This is the way to think about it. This is how to be outcomes based rather than, just having the punch list of things to do. So one, do you agree that there's sort of oftentimes, usually, a shift, especially if they're not used to the IT stuff, right? A shift in the corporate culture to gear it up for success. And then how do you approach that and achieve that?
Great question, Thomas. Great question. Yes, cultural shift is very much important, because what happens is the business users are used to doing their work in a particular fashion, basically, right? So and they love what they wanted to do, and they continue what they wanted to doing, actually, right? But sometimes, so those business processes are not the right way for your or to take your organization to the next level, basically, right? Either these business processes are outdated business processes, or the users are just following them because they just love them. They don't want it to change themselves, basically, right? So change management is one of the biggest thing. One is the cultural shift. Second is the change management, basically, right? So we influence the business users to change towards a product centric and an IT centric culture, so that initially there will be a lot of learning, because they need to learn our systems, learn technology, But eventually, when they start using the technology, it makes their life very easy, basically, right? So when you do the things outside of the systems, there is no discipline basically, right? And then if you wanted to retrieve the data when and you wanted to make the business decisions, you will not be able to retrieve the data in the right fashion basically, right? So because of this, organizations are losing a lot of money, losing customers, not able to fulfill the demands of the customer, right? So when we approach these projects, so we first of all is like a major cultural shift, and second is basically we deploy change management practices basically right from the initial phases of the project. We try to implement change management strategies and trying to train the users in a way that telling that, so this is the new product what it is coming to you, and then we have to thoroughly and systematically train our users on this software, and motivating them to use this particular product for the good and the benefit of them in the long run basically, right? So and also we will persuade the senior leadership teams, executive leadership teams, telling them that how best these products can help them in driving the business growth in the future, right? To transform their companies into the next level, it is important that they should come up with a change management mindset basically, right? So gone are the days when you keep doing the things in the same way, and then you are losing out to the competition basically, right? So it's very important that we influence the people in trying to build some kind of processes, best practices, and then telling them that you there is also a term called business process re-engineering basically. Business process re-engineering is basically you do a particular business in a particular fashion, but that is not providing you the optimum results. In such cases, we try to understand the business process, and then we do the business process re-engineering, implementing the best practices, right? How a particular industry is doing a particular process, this is helping them because there are some kind of advantages to this particular process. If you are following some bad practices, we influence the companies to shift towards the best practice, industry leading best practice.
Right. So I love this term that you use, the change management mindset. And I want you to maybe give us the pieces of that mindset or the aspects of that mindset, if you could, because I think when a lot of people think of the change management team at their company, it's the people that do the training. They put together like the training material, and
Mhm.
I don't know if everyone has a holistic understanding of what would it mean to be have a change management mindset rather than an alternative to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to change management, it is not necessarily the team of change management who are more like organizational change management, who create some kind of training documents and all. That's not the kind of change management practices when we deploy in this business transformation programs. So we deploy change management professionals who understands the product, who understands the business, and who has experience in managing the change, moving a company from a particular level to the next level, basically. So the experts should have wide variety of skills. They should be having the particular industry skills, particular product skills, and also the people skills basically. So they should be understanding the attitudes of the people, why a particular person do not want it to change. Is it because of the demographics? Is it because of the lack of knowledge? Or is it because of the lack of the culture? So it is important to understand the root cause of the people, why they do not want it to change, and try to influence them with knowledge basically, not necessarily with the authority. So we influence the people with knowledge basically, and it is easy to change people with knowledge rather than a particular administrative person asking them to change, basically, right? So we need to provide the pros and cons, basically, right? So what are the advantages, and if we are not able to change, what is going to happen in the future, basically, right? Either at a personal level or at a company level. So it is important to deploy these kind of practices and processes to convince the people with knowledge and to influence the people with knowledge, not necessarily with authority or some kind of power play, basically. And we have done this with successfully in many organizations.
That's really I love this conversation. And one of the things you said earlier that really jumped out to me is that when you're coaching a business and you're bringing people from working in sort of an operations process kind of a mindset into IT, and they
Mhm.
haven't been familiar with IT, and how a lot of that is informed by your own path from working in manufacturing previously and then going into IT.
Exactly. Yes.
What would you say is like maybe one or two gaps that people have when they're in that
Mhm.
position? What is an example of a lesson that somebody often does not understand before they work in IT, but then after they learn the IT kind of way of doing things, they say, "Ah, okay, I get it."
Absolutely. Yeah. So some of the key challenges what the business users face is basically insecurity, right? Insecurity is one thing because always they think that if the company is deploying a particular technology, what will happen to my job, right? So eventually, am I going to come out of this particular work which I have loved for so many years, right? So this kind of doubt is always in their mind. That is one challenge they face. And second challenge is basically they always think that I am an expert in my area, right? Learning a new technology is not going to help me because I have done enough. I'm done with my career. Now I don't have to learn anything new. I'm efficient in doing things in my own way, basically, right? So this is the kind of second mindset the people come from it, right? And then how we can shift their mindset in a different way is basically telling these people to understand that no one is going to take your job away from you. You are still an expert actually in your area, right? And company still needs you basically. What we are trying to do is basically is to help you in your job so that you can efficiently perform in your job. You don't have to concentrate on non-value added activities in your job, right? You concentrate on the creative things of your job, right? And the product is helping you in managing your non-value added activities. And it is going to help you in an effective way, in an efficient way. It is going to give you the information much faster rather than you searching for the information, right? So that way, we need to influence the business users, telling them that your expertise is always needed for the company. But this product, you learn this technology, it will make your life easier so that you will be able to do much more for the company actually, right? So this is one way of really influencing the people with knowledge and with experience actually. And then the second part to it is that we convince the people that there is no age for learning actually, right? So a person can learn at any age, any point of their career, right? So that is the only way you can survive in your professional career. So you cannot say that I'm done working 20 years. I'm not interested in learning something new actually, right? So that is one more mindset. We need to change people's mindset to make them understand that how important is the product-led discoveries, how information technology can help them in the long run actually. So that is where when we need to change the mindset of the people, the culture of the companies, so that business transformation programs can be successful in the longer run.
Great. I love hearing these insights, Prasad. This is really good. Where can people find more about you and what you're working on? LinkedIn?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn actually. So I have a very detailed professional profile on LinkedIn. So that is where they can connect with me, and whatever questions they have, they can ask through LinkedIn. I keep checking my messages in LinkedIn often, and they can reach out to me through my email, through LinkedIn, to know more about me, the kind of work I'm doing, and I love to help them out and advise them in whatever best way I can do.
Oh, that sounds great. Prasad Gandhikota, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Thomas. Thanks for having this opportunity. Thanks for having me today. Appreciate it.